to do work at my mom's house, so I can't. It's kind of hard. Yeah, they always complain about it. Okay, I want to talk about the exam first. What I'd like to do is to go over some changes I'm going to make so that I can enhance and make your study habits line up with something that's going to get you the grade that you would like to get. I know that we're grade driven, but we need to somehow put in stoppers in place. I feel we call them props. We have them in our clinic. People who struggle with their food, we come up with ways to portion their food. So that's a prop. So these are just ways that are meant to help you. Now, the issue of the computers, there was a twofold issue here that I heard. One was that there were not enough computers, and the second one I heard very interestingly from one of the students was that people just hogged the computers, and so one person was just sitting there for the entire time using the computer. And that comes from not having the flexibility and understanding how to use it because they're really using it for the first or second time ever right here. So that's not your burden. If you are ready to use it, that's their burden. So I have some solutions to kind of stop that. And I'm going to have the 5 computers up here in the front as usual because I asked permission. It said it's just not going to work. Our final 2, it's supposed to be a common final. I'm going to not do that. I'm going to use our own final because we're doing things in a much more deep way. They're not able to do those things the way we're doing them. Then we have to go out on our own because their setup is not fitting well. Their format is not working well with what we're trying to do here. And so that really kind of will open it up so that I can get more into the medicine in this last half of the semester, and we can do some real things. We can do some stuff related to geology, the stuff that you're doing and learning sustainability so that it's relevant to you. So as before, I think things were better when I made the PowerPoints and everything was lined up. So I'm going to go back to that. I know that you said it was easier to look through, but the drop in scores and the drop in interest started when I also dropped the effort that I put into putting into my PowerPoint. So I'm going to go back there again. All videos will be labeled by topic. So interestingly enough, not largely from this section, but from the other section, I got so many texts on Sunday night asking for things that I had not only recorded once, but recorded multiple times. And so they were like, where is that? Where is that? Well, that's your burden. Sunday night, I have things going on at my house that are just really scary. And I've done things that are late too. Sometimes I sit there and tell myself that, oh, well, I tell my students not to do this. And here I am doing this. But that's my burden. That's not your burden. That's not my chair's burden. That's not my dean's burden. That's me alone shares that responsibility for making the choice to procrastinate. For example, I have to get the comprehensive questions in today. I have to do it today. I haven't even started on it. My fault, not your fault. Not anybody else's in the department fault. So I have to figure out somewhere we're going to have to either stay up late or do something to get that done. And it's not going to be my best work. So homework, I'm going to change the date so that it's not due on Mondays. People are waiting till Sunday to do their Monday homework, and that's just not good enough. You need to come in Monday ready. And so I get a lot of questions Monday morning from students who are just starting it dry. It's very clear they're starting it dry. I've been teaching a long time, and I can tell by the questions that it's dry. So I'm not going to help after the afternoon and Sunday just because I can't promise it. So I don't want to promise you I can help you afternoon on Sunday. That places the burden on you to start it immediately when it's assigned and make sure that it's completed early enough so you can ask me questions. If your grade is suffering in here, then you should be the one doing that, getting it done earlier. I'm going to assign 2 sets of homework. One is the regular must-do homework, and the other one's going to be a catch-up homework. So what I saw grading the exams, I graded one section already. What I saw grading that exam is that there was a soup made by just waiting too long, didn't do anything during spring break, and then waited right till the day before the exam, and then tried to learn that massive content all at once. And they just stirred it up in a big pot and blew it out to me on the test. And so I saw that on there. And so what I need them to do is to catch up
to go back and revisit those things and do it in piecemeal, not do it all at once. And so that first set of homework is a regular, everybody has to do. The second set of homework is for the students that opt in to a program where you can add back points to the exam. But that's going to be double the work because didn't put it in a timely way beforehand, so you're going to have to do it now this way. That's an option. So I mentioned that this is an option. This places a lot of burden on me because I have to figure out how, I'm going to have all these different things coming at me. I have to add back points and think about where everybody is. If I'm aggravated beyond that, if I feel like people are going to, come in and just ask me, well, you should have given me one more point for this, or you should have done this, then I'll drop the whole thing because the other section had similar grades. And Golnabi's section, and guess what he's doing? Absolutely nothing. So we can go to that model if needed. This is going to be a gift to make sure, because I want to motivate you to be where you should be. So that's what I'm going to put into place. And with the graphing issue, I think those of you who were wanted to do the graphing problems, that will not be a problem anymore. I'll have 5 computers out in front. Each one will be set with a timer. Each student will get 5 minutes of time to use that computer. I'll go over that in a second here. First of all, we have also disinterest on your side. We have people with their cell phones open, their cell phone sitting on their lap, laughing while they're looking at their cell phone. I do know what you're doing. I'm not that dumb. I might be doing it myself sometimes when I'm not supposed to be. So what I'll do is I'll ask you at the beginning of every class to put your cell phone away. Just really put it away so that you can fully pay attention. The second is I need to get you to not procrastinate. You have to buy into what I'm telling you. Otherwise, it's just me forcing you. And that might make some minimal grounds for your grade. But if you're fighting me on everything I'm trying to do, then it's not going to help you. I've learned this by teaching for a very long time. So at West Point, we used to impose things. Wonderful, you can impose things. But if the student's not with you, you won't get very far because they're not buying in. Or let's suppose my dean used to tell me, you need to apply for grants. It's part of your regular scholarship program. And I used to apply for the grant to satisfy him. I applied for 11 grants before I came up for tenure, and I didn't receive a single one of them. And you know why? Because I didn't really want it. I was doing it to check a box to get the grade, to get my reappointment and tenure. He was forcing that upon me. Now that I know what those grants can do for my students, how they can transform my colleagues, what kind of powerful thing they do for our university, and I believe I want it, it's a totally different game. So I bought into it. So I get what he's saying now, but before I didn't get it and I didn't buy it and I really didn't like it. I used to complain about it. So you have to buy in a little bit. So the procrastination bit, I know when it's happening because of the kind of questions I'm being asked. When people are mixing up stuff or they're asking, what is this A thing here? On Sunday night for a Monday test, then I know, okay, they have no idea, they missed class or they were watching cartoons during class and they totally missed the boat on it. And they're now trying to put it all inside tonight. It's too late. I can tell you that I have data-driven evidence where I looked for all kinds of variables that may predict student success, and the only variable that predicted student success is how early they start. Not how long they work on things, not how many times, how many hours they put in, it was just that one thing, how early they start. And I got that data from something that they had to download. You could actually see that you could track the data and plot graphs. And what you found is students who get A's started the homework the day that it was assigned. So they could download it and there was a timer. I could see when they started it. The students who did not succeed, I'm going to have to split you two up, okay? If you don't mind. Could you take a seat up here? Or Andy, why don't you? Be a gentleman. So I did notice that students who started and opened the material 2 days before the quiz all failed it, and that was the only evidence I had that's data driven, but it was pretty pronounced. Okay, the third thing is be considerate. A student themselves said, it's like the student who was sitting up here with the computers at all times didn't care about anybody else. They burdened everybody else. Also be considerate of me. I come in here, these lectures, they're not lectures that the regular professors do. They take an enormous amount of time to put together. I have to use 2 computers. I bought a ton of equipment to make sure that these things are recorded out of my own pocket. You think Montclair State is giving me money to get these like writing tablets and get the video camera so that I can put them up on YouTube? That's all me. So be considerate of me. I'm trying to do a lecture for you that's successful for you. That means put your cell phones away, pay attention in class, and use the most out of it. So my reward is when you succeed. That's all I want. So that I ask from you to just be considerate. This is one of the things they always say at West Point, consideration of others. So we need to hold to that. And also, I do want to say one more thing about the be considerate. When you're laughing and joking with someone, you might be fine. They might not be. My daughter has problems eating. She's on the 5th percentile now for BMI, for the weight. And so I tell her to eat. And my other daughter she's a ham. She loves to like sit around and laugh while they're eating. And then 1.5 hours later, my daughter, who has the weight problem, is sitting there with her food, not even a bite eaten. Who suffered from that? Aishwarya's is all gone. She's eaten it. She's doing her little entertainment dance. She's fine. The one she was entertaining was not. So keep that in mind when you're joking around with your neighbor, that you're affecting their learning too. So you might be fine yourself, but you might be affecting somebody else. Okay, the catch-up homework is going to all be related to exam 2 problems, and they'll involve directly Excel questions and procedural questions, both. So the Excel questions I'm going to design so that they're kind of going to force you to get into Excel and actually play around with it so that you know what you're entering, why you're entering it. Like that pie with the parentheses. How many of you saw that on the video when I showed how to that you had to put a parentheses around pi to get the pie? Do you know how many people told me it was not on any video? So I not only did it a few times, but it was recorded. So that means that we need to get people experimenting with that. You know, I have to make sure that you actually try it. So I'll do those questions where I'll ask you, type this in. What kind of error do you get? So that you can actually, I'll kind of set up the stage where you're playing with it. It's just like getting a new phone. You're playing with it, and then you get proficient at it. You have to get them right to be part of this program. So there's not a second chance because it's 4 multiple choice things. The other ones are crazy multiple choice answers because they're set up in that way. So if you're unsure and you don't want to type anything in, send it over to me. Say, take a look at this, Dr. T. Is this right before I type this in? And I'll let you know. The only thing is, can't do it too late, too close to the time it's due. It doesn't mean I won't answer it. It just means that the closer it gets time to its due, like I might not be there with my phone. I might be locked out somewhere else. And that's why I'm saying afternoon, I can't make any guarantees on Sunday. You'll get reassessed over problems from exam 2, so you could be able to win back points, but you must have completed that homework perfectly, that redo homework, and score perfectly on those problems on that exam to get them re-added back to exam 2. Because like I said, on exam 2, it wasn't just an issue of I didn't get a computer. It was also an issue of I just had no clue on how to do any of these problems. So we have to like seal that up as well. I'm going to place timers by all the computers at the front. So you're going to sign in and say, I'm working on problem number 3. You get the timer set. I can enter a sequence, drag the formula, and copy the table in 2 minutes. I time myself. I'll give you 5. That means I know how to do it, right? I'm proficient at Excel, so you have to get proficient at it. When you're finished with your time, you can't come back and try to use the computer again for that same problem. You have to complete that problem in that allotted time. That's going to free up the computers. So only one problem at a time, too. Some students said that students came up here and were trying to do all their computer work all at once. So come do your one problem and then go back and then reevaluate. So in the tables, you only needed to copy down the data from the tables. You can graph it yourself. And you can view the graph. Once you've seen the graph, you know what it's supposed to look like. So you just plot those points. Students that are participating in the add-on program, you must see them in assigned seats. We're not so bad in this section. We're terrible in the other. I was actually disappointed when Saida came back and told me, oh, the afternoon section was really bad. The morning section was really nice. So you guys got a compliment. The other section did not. All the cell phones have to be put away. And if you are on your cell phone, I'm going to ask you to leave. Right? Everything's recorded. You can watch it later. But again, this is not a burden that we want to bring into class. Okay, are there any questions about this? I don't want to seem harsh. I don't like to force my will upon other people. I don't lead that way. I don't think good things come from that. You need to understand that, you know, the opt-in, the add-in thing is just if you want to. So your free will is still there. If you want to go on and work hard in the class and go on with the regular homework and not participate, that's fine. If you want to be on your cell phone, that's fine, but I can't let it harm the rest of us. So I'm going to have to ask you to leave. If you want to talk in class or chat around, that's fine too, but you just have to leave so that you do it outside of here. The free will is still there. And again, if, you know, maybe if you first look at it and say, Dr. T's just making me do it that way. If whatever's raising your grade, you know, but if you opt in, start to try to buy in mentally and say that, realize I'm trying to help you.